Hi, this is Christine with Where's Watson. Today is a really exciting day because we are going to immerse ourselves in virtual reality. I'm here with Chris Sarowich, the manager of Emerging Media Production, and we are going to have some fun today. We're going to learn about virtual reality, and we're going to learn about the support that EMP can provide to those faculty and staff who are really interested in incorporating virtual reality into our teaching and learning environment here at RRC Polytech.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Chris, thank you for joining me.
Yeah.
Maybe we can start by talking about what is virtual reality.
Okay, first I want to say thank you very much for giving us this opportunity, so I really appreciate it. And just before I go straight to that question, I want to say that virtual reality actually has been around for a really long time. It's not new. But the technology has become more accessible. The technology has become less expensive, less cumbersome, and there's more and more material now available for VR in an educational environment. Okay. So we are getting a lot more requests and a lot more opportunities to use VR than we have had in the past. Okay. So,
Chris, what's the difference between virtual reality and augmented reality?
So virtual reality is when you are completely immersed in a simulated environment. Augmented reality would be where you are still in your external environment, but it's augmented with objects that are in front of you.
Okay, so you're projecting an object virtually into a real environment.
Absolutely, yeah. So we do a little bit of both of that here at EMP.
Okay.
But virtual reality is essentially it's the ability to put a student in a simulated 360-degree 3D interactive, highly sensory environment. And obviously that in many ways complements teaching and learning.
Yes.
And how basically, one, it's super engaging, right? It's really fun. It helps with memory and retention.
Yes.
It helps develop problem solving and critical thinking skills. It certainly lends itself towards the achievement of learning outcomes. It's great for developing empathy, and it's really good for working collaboratively. Yeah. And I'll be able to show you some of that as we move through the facility.
I would think that it also allows students to go into environments where there may be a safety issue otherwise. So we're keeping students safe by exposing them to potentially unsafe environments in a way that keeps them protected and allows them to process that information or learn about that environment without actually putting them into that environment.
Absolutely. So those are things you can do in VR. So say, for example, you wanted to learn how to operate a crane, and you were trying to do so in a really windy environment, right, which could otherwise be dangerous. But you could develop some basic skills in virtual reality in a safe way.
Right.
The other thing that it can do is it can put you into environments that you might not otherwise have access to, or you might not have access to on a regular basis, right? So it can put you in a construction site. It could put you in an emergency room.
Yes.
It could put you into a laboratory that might not otherwise be available to the public. It can put you into all sorts of different geographical locations as well. So
great.
And other things that it can do is when you're in that environment, let's say you're in an automotive shop, it allows you to interact and manipulate objects. So you can be in an automotive shop virtually, and you could actually disassemble and assemble an engine in virtual reality.
That's right.
And there are lots of training programs in VR for that type of thing, certainly in the medical industry, but in trades as well. You can do lots of things for basic plumbing, wiring, electrical. So virtual reality has, there's a lot of possibilities and exciting things that you can do with this particular technology. So.
And you're not just interacting with objects, you're also potentially interacting with other people. So it also builds human skills and communication skills and empathy.
Absolutely, yeah. Virtuality, one of the significant strengths is empathy building, and that's, I'll talk a little bit about a project like that later on as well.
Wonderful.
So, yeah. But instead of me just talking and talking and talking. You're here so you can actually see a little bit of what we're doing.
Yes.
So I'm going to start with that.
Okay.
So we are in the immersion room right now. I think lots of people on this campus have been in this room. I often describe this as virtual reality light, in that we can create a simulated environment. This is I don't know the name, this is a park of a daycare in Portage la Prairie, but we can create simulated environments like this. We've created actually many environments like this around the city and in Manitoba with Mark Battle, part of a STAR grant, and it's used for immersive teaching with the ECE program.
Wonderful.
Right. I should mention to everybody watching, we have Lauren Coleman there who will be assisting us with some of the tech during this particular Where's Watson. We can complement what's happening in this room. So when you put on this headset, you are automatically immersed. We can give you a deeper, more interactive experience. So you put on the headset and you are once again immersed in this environment, but from a 3D perspective.
Right.
So now you can actually move around the environment. You can move around the whole facility for that matter. But what's really cool with this is we've created this particular VR experience from the child's perspective.
Wow.
So when you put on this headset, everything that you are seeing is from the level of a child, right?
Wow.
So in terms
That's
of
really cool.
developing problem solving and critical thinking skills, it is a very, very, very powerful tool.
Yes.
And we do a lot of that. So a lot of what's happening in this immersion room is in fact complemented with virtual reality in that way.
Wonderful.
So this is our lobby for emerging media and production. And what we're doing here is we're setting up something like a VR cafe.
Oh.
So yeah, we're going to have several sets available. We only have one right now, but in the near future we'll have a few more available. And reason being is because even though I said that VR earlier has been around for a long time, it is really surprising to know that not that many people have actually engaged or experienced virtual reality. So we're always very surprised by the people who know about it but have never done it. So what we're doing here is we're setting up a bit of an engagement opportunity. We're going to have several sets available. We're going to have different virtual reality experiences in those sets. So we have a number of pieces from the National Geographic.
Oh,
so
wonderful.
get to experience what it's like to walk with the lions in Africa, or walk with penguins in the Antarctic, or maybe go swimming in a coral reef. We'll have a piece that, a documentary that we created, I think it's the Lord Selkirk Daycare. So we created a 360 documentary about activities in that daycare.
Wonderful.
We'll have a 3D 360 tour of RRC's Motive Lab will be a part of this. And this particular one, I wanted to show you this to see if you can kind of guess where you are. So,
okay. I'm going to put it on now. Here, do you want to hold those?
Yes, I'll hold that for you.
Okay. Woo! There's a lot of very large koi. And they're very close to me. And they're beautiful.
Right.
And I'm definitely underwater. And if I look up, I'm seeing the skylights in. So this is our fountain.
Absolutely. So that is, you are underwater swimming with the fish in our fish pond that's located just before the North Gym on the NDC campus. So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, basically what we did is we took a 360 camera, we put it in the appropriate housing, we put it into the pond, and now you're able to swim and be with the fish.
I lost it. Okay, can I try something else?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go for lions.
Yeah, so that's a National Geographic piece. And that's a 360 piece, so that kind of puts you amongst lions.
There's a very large lion right beside me.
Right. So I think
my gosh.
that reaction even in of itself attests to the power of virtual reality. It's putting you in places that you would not otherwise be able to go. This is yet another environment where EMP is using VR. This is our connected classroom. It's set up for symmetrical streaming, so we can have students here, and obviously we can have students at a distance.
Oh.
Even here, we are using virtual reality as well. So, for example, you can see Lauren there is operating, it's a skeletal program. So she's actually able to
she's moving
take
the skeleton.
apart the skeleton, observe the pieces, and put them back in place. And also what we're doing in here is we're doing it in a bit of a collaborative way in that we cast everything that Lauren is doing. So all the students in the room and from a distance can see what's happening here. And they can participate in a way where they can make comments on it or they can ask questions.
Right.
So this is viewable for everybody in the room.
And is it viewable if you're streaming it
Yeah.
synchronously as well, that people who are, say, in Winkler or Portage can see that as well?
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, they would definitely be able to see it as well.
Okay.
And again, just to point out, like this is obviously a medical related piece because we host nursing in here and med-rad sciences, and we've had some PCP in here. But it's important to note that there's a lot of this available for trades as well. Like I was saying earlier, there's this kind of thing where you could disassemble engines, you could do basic welding, pipe fitting, electrical, framing. So there are virtual reality apps available for all sorts of different applications and for different programs. So
Wonderful.
this kind of thing is widely available off the shelf, right? You know, so if anybody's interested, we can help curate that, and we could help manage the systems that would host these particular programs.
What do you see as the trend? Do you see more people becoming interested, more options available than we might have had a couple years ago?
All of the above. Like I said, it's much more accessible now. It's easier to use. It's cheaper to use. It's more available. Augmented reality is, I think, is going to be a huge trend, and that's where you could you can put objects. You can still be in the room that you're in, but you can have objects in that room that you can manipulate and that you can share and build upon. So it's kind of both. There's mixed reality. Virtual reality has its pros and cons, its strengths, and so does augmented reality.
Right. Yeah. And then, of course, we have simulation. And so we're building a beautiful new simulation center, a multidisciplinary simulation center. And I can't wait to see how we can use virtual reality and augmented reality and simulation all together, because that really is a richness and diversity of ways that you can get content and interact and build empathy. Yeah, these opportunities for experiential learning are just increasing significantly, and they're really exciting, and it's a really exciting part of what EMP is doing. So wonderful. We look forward to it. And we're so grateful that you and your team are really here to support our faculty, program development and design, to make sure that our students get the best experience possible, and that we're giving them all of these experiential learning opportunities. We're more than open to drop-ins, and we're near the North Gym, so people feel free to drop by at any time. Wonderful. Thanks so much, Chris. Thanks, Christine. Thanks, Lauren. Welcome. Bye-bye. Thanks.